When Jake and Rebecca got arrested, I thought that the Emmanuel Haro case would quiet down a little bit, but instead, things have gotten even crazier. This morning, someone broke into Jake and Rebecca's house, an active crime scene where we believe and law enforcement believes that Emmanuel's life was taken. So they're walking willy-nilly around Emmanuel's home and around the property, and they're even offering to give people house tours of Emmanuel's home. Now, shortly after that happened, Jake was spotted on the side of the road with investigators, and investigators were out searching an area, and Jake was out there talking to the police. So it's easy to assume that Jake was out there with law enforcement telling them, a location where Emmanuel could possibly be. Now, Emmanuel was not found, but the fact that Jake was out there in the first place, it lets you know that at the very least, Jake is not sticking to that original story about Emmanuel being kidnapped at the Big Five, because if he was sticking to the original story, he would have no business out here on the side of the road looking for Emmanuel with investigators. But today was very strange. It was very strange indeed, because Jake is out there. Everyone's thinking that Emmanuel has been found, but law enforcement wrapped up the search very quickly. And they made a public statement saying that, yeah, Jake was out here with us, and no, we did not find Emmanuel. So I find it very odd that Jake was out there, but law enforcement didn't search for long. That lets me know that whatever Jake told law enforcement, and he obviously told them something because he's out there with them, whatever he told law enforcement, he must have not given them a definitive answer. Like, I don't know what Jake confessed to. We know he's talking. But if Jake told him, for example, if Jake told law enforcement or investigators that, yeah, I killed Emmanuel and I put him out here, I feel like investigators would not have wrapped up the search that quickly. Okay? I think that whatever Jake told him was just he's floating out possibilities of where Emmanuel could be, because I think that he's putting everything on Rebecca. Now, we don't know that for sure, and I could be totally wrong. But we do know in the past he hurt a child and then he tried to blame the mother. I have every reason to believe that he would do the same thing, especially after what we saw today. But regardless of what happened, at the very least, like I said, we do know that he's not sticking to that original story. You want to know who is sticking to the original story, though? Rebecca. Because as Jake is out here cooperating with law enforcement on the side of the road, as they have the cadaver dogs and they're out there digging, looking for Emmanuel, Rebecca is behind bars doing law enforcement. Rebecca is behind bars doing interviews with the media, and she's sticking to her original story. She's saying that Jake is a great father. He would never hurt a baby. And she's claiming that she was knocked out at the Big Five. She says that she wants to get out there and look for Emmanuel. She is like ride or die with her original story. So I just find that very odd, that on one hand, we have Rebecca sticking to the original story, doing interviews with the media. On the other hand, Jake is out here talking to the cops in the middle of a field where they're searching for Emmanuel. So I think that tells us everything about what's going on behind the scenes. One person is sticking to the original story, the other person is talking. Now, if Jake told them the 100% truth, then I feel like they probably would have found Emmanuel or found some signs of Emmanuel, or at the very least, they wouldn't have wrapped up that search that quickly. The fact that they only searched out there for a couple of hours, that's very telling to me. It's very telling. So I don't think cops think for a 100% fact that Emmanuel is out there in that area. I think that, I mean, who knows, but maybe they got some information from Jake and that's why they're out there. I think that Jake is playing a game right now, if you want me to be honest. But like I said, I could be wrong, but that's how things look if you ask me. Because really, just to think about it for 1 minute, if Jake came out and said, look, I did it, and this is where I put Emmanuel, I just find it hard to believe that law enforcement would go out there, look around for an hour or two, and then leave unless they found something, right? Now, if they went out there and searched for a couple of hours and they found something and left, yeah, that makes sense. But I feel like we would have seen them out there for longer. And we know for a fact that they didn't find anything because they made a public statement saying that Emmanuel wasn't found. So I just find it almost impossible to believe that if they got a definitive answer and they got a confession that here is where I put Emmanuel, I just do not think that they would have went out there and just spent a short amount of time out there. I feel like they would probably still be out there right now. It is a huge area. It is a huge area. And, you know, I don't want to think about these things. I know you guys don't either, but we have to discuss these things. Emmanuel would have been out there a long time, exposed to wildlife. You know, the remains could be all scattered everywhere. So there's definitely something odd here. There's something odd going on. Jake is talking, but Jake ain't telling them for sure where Emmanuel's at. And I don't think it's just for, how can I put it? I think that Jake may be playing games, but I don't think that he's playing games for the hell of it. I think that he's leading cops astray in order to place this on Rebecca, like, you know, to downplay what knowledge he may have. He may take them to a couple of, you know, fake or wrong locations first before he takes them to the right one. I think that he's playing the game of like, oh yeah, you know, Rebecca did it, and I tried to help her with the lie, but I don't really know where Emmanuel is. He could be here, he could be there. I think that's the game that's being played right now. But it's also, it says everything. You know that Jake is out there with law enforcement, not Rebecca, right? It's not like they took Rebecca out there as well, okay? I understand that they wouldn't take them both out there together, but they're not taking Rebecca to no locations where they're looking for Emmanuel, only Jake. So Jake is talking to some extent. To what extent, I guess we'll find out in the future. For now, you guys let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.